History of World War I. War plans. As an atmosphere of tension arose in Europe, the warring countries began to plan for war against each other. Among these plans, the most important was that of the German Chief of Staff, Elfus von Schlieffen, which was compiled by him on his retirement in 1905. By their very nature, Schlieffen belonged to those people who do not stop the action only when the enemy is defeated. Rather, they wanted to annihilate the enemy. That is why he devised a plan that was the single most successful plan of the First World War. And it was this plan that led to Germany's early success. The Schlieffen Plan. The basis of General Schlieffen's plan was the belief that the French forces would, at any rate, confront Germany to recover the territories they had captured. To this end, French forces would concentrate their attention on the border nearest to Alsace and Lorraine, in which case Germany would take advantage of France's weakness by attacking Mazaris and Dunkirk between France's weakest defenses through Belgium and Paris. I will try to take over. For this purpose, the military deployment was also done with great planning. All possible efforts were made to strengthen the right-wing forces, and the First and Second Armies were drawn up there. These forces were to enter France through Belgium and the southern Netherlands. The Fifth and Sixth Armies were lined up to defend Alsace and Lorraine, to draw the French forces into small skirmishes to provoke them, and eventually allow the First and Second Armies to reach their rear so that the way of supply and reinforcement of the enemy is blocked. At this time, the Fifth and Sixth Armies, instead of fighting defensively, moved forward in an offensive style, while the reserves in their rear were prepared to take up a defensive position in a well-organized manner. Thus, the plan was to annihilate the French forces after encircling them. The main focus of the German forces in this project was on France. This can be inferred from the fact that the ratio for the right wing was 7:1. While the remaining army, which was not very strong, was reserved for competition with Russia. The reason for this was the weak economic and military condition of Russia at the time. This project was made in 1905. Elder Dwayne Shelton retired the same year and was replaced by General Helmuth von Moltke. Initially, this plan was also liked by Moltke, but later, in the context of changing international conditions, he felt the need to change the plan. On the one hand, Russia was engaged in military reforms after being defeated by Japan in 1905. And now that first weak Russia is no longer there. Second, the coal mines of the Saar near the border and the industrial state of the Rhineland had become so important to Germany that it would have been foolish to leave them at the mercy of the enemy. Therefore, in 1917, Schlieffen himself felt the need to modify this plan and to strengthen the military lineup on the Eastern Front from Belfort to the sea, and simultaneously on the Eastern and Western fronts, the left and right-wing forces. Emphasis on strengthening. Moltke's modification of the Schlieffen plan avoided completely compromising the neutrality of the Netherlands. In this way, political and moral advantages were obtained, but from a military point of view, the two armies of the right wing had to pass through the narrow pass of Belgium, which hindered the speed of the forces. A further Moltke reduced the troop ratio on the Western Front from 1:7 to 4:1 and focused on the defense of Saar and Rhineland. Thus, the original spirit of the Schlieffen plan to strengthen the right wing had been lost, and Moltke was trying to strengthen the left wing proportionally so that Germany could be well on two fronts at the same time. Can cope with Miyabi. Plan number 17. On the other hand, France and other allies had plans, But these plans did not have the maturity and completeness of the German Schlieffen plan. Belgium was firmly committed to its neutral position. However, Britain and France had had close relations since 1911, and it had been agreed that Britain would send its expeditionary force to France's left flank to compete with Germany. After being defeated by Prussia in the War of 1870-1 and losing its provinces of Alsace and Lorraine, France had a strong desire to acquire these territories. Under the influence of these feelings, the high military authorities of France made plans, and he used to review it again and again. In 1911, Plan Number 16 was created for the offensive in the provinces of Alsace and Lorraine. General Augustin Audrey considered Plan Number 16 harmful to the integrity of France. He believed that the Germans would attack France through Belgium rather than through the difficult routes of Alsace and Lorraine. He proposed to strengthen the defences along the Belgian border to avoid an expected German invasion through Belgium and reorganize the forces to launch an aggressive attack on the German invasion forces and drive them out of Belgium. The implementation of this plan would have required the reorganization and alignment of the entire French army. France would have been guilty of undermining Belgium's neutrality during the second project. Therefore, rejecting General Augustin's plan, he was replaced by General Joseph Joffre as Chief of Staff, who later held the post of Marshal. General Joseph gave a vague and incomplete plan indicating the places where enemy attacks were expected and from where the enemy was intended to be attacked. The project was named Project Number 17. The basis of this plan was the idea that German forces would attack from the French border of the occupied territories of Alsace and Lorraine. However, some provisions were made in this plan for the expected invasion of German forces through Belgium. Under this plan, the French 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 5th armies were prepared to face the attack of the German forces from the Alsace and Lorraine regions from right to left. In the event of a German attack through Belgium, the reserved 4th Army was to move to the left and take the place of the 5th Army, while the 5th Army was to move further to the left to intercept German forces entering through Belgium. Otherwise, the 4th Army was directed to attack the German forces in Alsace and Lorraine from the right flank of the 3rd Army. In this plan, there was no formal indication for the British Expeditionary Force, so the Great Frontier Line on the left of the 5th Army was left empty of French forces, where the British Expeditionary Force could line up and face the German forces. In this case, the forces of Great Britain and France were planning to launch two major attacks, but at what time and with how many forces and other necessary details, etc., were not specified in the plan. That is why the project was incomplete. According to this plan, the French forces did exactly what was expected in the German Schlieffen plan. Land and sea attacks. Austria on 28 July 1914. Hungary declared war on Serbia. The very next day, Russia marched its forces into Austria as planned. Ordered a coach to attack Hungary. On 31st July, Germany requested that Russia stop the movement of troops, but Russia rejected Germany's request. On 1st August 1919, Germany declared war on Russia and requested France, Russia's ally, to remain neutral, which was rejected by the French Ministry of Foreign Affairs, which issued orders to mobilize its forces. On the same day, a secret treaty of alliance was signed between Germany and Ottoman Turkey, under which both countries agreed to provide military assistance to each other and to intervene in the event of a war between one of the two countries. Italy remained neutral despite being a member of the tripartite alliance. Darien announced. On 2nd August, Germany informed Belgium that French forces were ready to attack. To prevent this, Germany must send its forces into Belgium. However, it was assured that Belgium's neutral status would be maintained and that if Belgian forces resisted, it would be considered an attack. The duration of this ultimatum was 12 hours. On 3rd August, Belgium responded to Germany conf. On that day, Germany declared war on France. The next day, German troops entered Belgium. King Albert appealed for help from the signatories of the Belgian Neutrality Treaty, upon which Britain gave Berlin a request to withdraw from Belgium. At midnight, the ultimatum period was completed, and no response was received from Berlin in London, Great Britain. On 5th August, Germany, or Austria, declared war against Hungary. On the other hand, Montenegro and Austria declared war against Hungary. On the same day, German forces attacked the Belgian fortifications, and by 16th August, all the fortifications were conquered. Austria, on the other hand, on 6th August, Hungary declared war on Russia because of the invasion of Russian forces. In comparison, Serbia declared war against Germany. On 7th August, the British Expeditionary Force reached France. On 9th August, Montenegro declared war on Germany. Austria on 10th August. Hungary invaded Russian-occupied Poland. While 11 and 12. In August, France and Great Britain, respectively, visited Austria. Declared war on Hungary. Thus, the First World War continued from 1914 to 1918, and during this time, every moment was a moment of war for the countries participating in the war, so we continued to have different battles on different fronts, some of which were famous and important.